What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to give you guys a very important warning about the markets. Please note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, deposit $100 and you're guaranteed 5 free stocks, deposit $1,000 and you're guaranteed 15 of them. Anyways, the market's in a very critical place right now. SPY has taken a hit. We started off with a pump thanks to the ISM services numbers. The numbers are actually pretty good. I would say that the PMI report was decent. Business activity was decent as well. Employment was a little bit below expectations, but then everything else, like new orders and prices, was decent. So the market got an initial pump, but they only used this as a liquidity grab to start shorting the market back down. So that's what led to this market soft, a little pump, and then a dump right after. And right now, SPY is at a very critical level. We're barely at this 548 area, very close to this key support. If we can't hold 548, I think that we are at risk of coming down to this daily gap fill. On the daily of SPY, we're starting to fill this gap. We have one more support at 546, but it's kind of minor on the daily. It's going to be our 50 EMA. If we don't hold that, I think we could be coming down to fill this gap all the way down to the 543s. So we'll see how things end up going if that ends up failing. So we're barely holding 548. If that fails, I think we could be coming all the way down for that gap fill. The next level would be around the 546 area. But if that fails, we just continue to dump. For resistance, make sure you watch 550, but so far we're looking kind of weak right now. So I want to give you guys a warning about that. That's why the market is starting to slow. For Nvda, it's the same thing. Essentially, we are range bound, but notice that we are also slowing a little bit. We pushed up to about this 110 area only to dip back down. If you look at the 4-hour time frame, we're just range bound. We have 108 and 110 as resistance and 104 as support. Going back and forth, we could dip a little bit lower. For ES, it's the same thing. Essentially, we kind of rejected off a double top. We have this resistance around this 55.60 area. Our main support's at 55. 10. If 55.10 fails, I think we could be dipping down for that 54.80 target. That's all the way down to where this imbalance happens to be right over here. So just be careful, guys. I'm seeing some weakness developing on these charts. For SPY, it's the same thing. We're also falling. Now we're below 548, so I do see a risk of this decline just for the time being. Going back to Bitcoin, Bitcoin tried to rebound. It came just under 57,000, like I was talking about in the morning. But then I said to watch and see if you reject because the trend is bearish. Lo and behold, Bitcoin is bearish as we're making lower highs and lower lows, and we're continuing to fall on a bearish structure. So we look more bearish on Bitcoin. We're looking at 55,000 as support. If that fails us, our next target is 54,700. We will see how well we hold up. For Tesla, we did a great job at pushing up. It's about 234. I mentioned that's 228, 230, and 234 are my targets. I think we went a little bit above that towards 235. Then we came back down. We have 228 now as resistance. If we don't reclaim that, we're looking for 225. And if that fails us, I think if we get below 225, we are at risk of coming down to fill the gap at 219. So be careful, guys. Keep that in the back of your guys' minds. The QQQ pumped only to dump back down. We look kind of weak on the 4-hour. We're looking at 458 as support. If that fails us, we could be tipping down to 455, then 453, and then fill our gap all the way down the low 450s. The resistance at 460, I think that with this bearish divergence and this liquidity grab, we are looking weaker and we have a risk of tipping lower, especially if we lose 458. For Aapl, we pushed all the way up towards this 224 area only to reject. I mentioned to you all we might see a little bounce if we hold 218. So now we're holding 222 as our support. If that fails us, we could be tipping to 220, followed by the 218.81 area as support. Resistance is very tough around this 223 area. So far, it might decline a bit thanks to SPY and the market kind of like shifting. So you want to be very mindful of that. Be very careful. For the IWM Russell 2000, we're dipping. We could be coming down to fill the gap. We need to reclaim 212. If we don't do so, we could be coming down to fill the gap to 208. So please be wary of that. Keep that in the back of your guys' minds. For Coinbase, we're looking more bearish. We're continuing to fall right now. We could be dipping all the way down towards 155 if 160 fails. Amazon went up to 178 only to reject. We're looking at 175 as support. Might be dipping towards that. Meta hits 515 to 518. If we fail to break through this, we could be dipping back down lower towards 510. So be mindful of that. I'm seeing a big wick forming on Microsoft. This could lead us back down to 404 if we don't hold 407. And then for Google, it's the same thing. We could be retesting 156. We'll see if that holds or not. If it doesn't hold, it's going to be a bigger decline. So I'm just here to give you guys the heads up and the warning about that. I'm seeing a weakness building on SPY in the markets. We're starting to decline. We're barely holding this support, and there's that big gap to fill, so we might come down to fill that gap. So please be very, very mindful of that. With that being said, guys, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm just here to give you guys the warnings. I will make another video a little bit later to talk about the unemployment numbers coming out tomorrow. There's a warning I have about that. But for now, just know the market is showing some weakness, and we'll see how things end up progressing from here. All right. So thank you for listening, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you guys in a few hours, and peace out.